you even, we have to at least give this a minute. Where do we even start? I can't even call that a game. That Knicks Heat thing from last night, here's my 2 takeaways. Julius Randle, if Julius Randle plays any worse, the FBI is going to come knocking on his door and launch a point-shaving investigation because it looks like he's actually trying to lose, number one. My other takeaway, Teak, it almost resembles. I don't think you saw this movie. It almost resembles the scene in Basketball Diaries.
Did not.
Okay, you have to see it. It's on YouTube. Just the scene where, because you'll really appreciate this observation, where Leonardo DiCaprio and Wahlberg and a few other guys take mescaline or Quaaludes, whatever they took before they went out and played a high school basketball game. They were tripping out on the court. That's how disinterested, ineffective. I mean, the Knicks aren't even trying.
What did I say a week ago, BT? At what time do we start talking about and looking at Tom Thibodeau as opposed to looking at all the players?
With
That's all
the
I gotta
8th
say.
overall pick. Like I told you the other day, this is lottery bound, man. So we are not going to waste your time, nor will we waste our time talking more than we just did about a team that evidently has no interest in playing, and right now a coach who has no clue how to deploy players. How about this one stat, though? And you can get all wrapped up in the numbers, all this, and you can manipulate stats all you want, right? You can make a 230 hitter look like he's hitting the ball on the screws every time. Oh, he's hitting into bad luck. But the Knicks had 3 starters last night. 60% of their starters had a plus-minus of minus 30. Minus 30 or worse. I mean, like I said, who is it? It's the FBI. Open up, Julius. We think you might be shaving points.
Well, I mean, it's almost hard to get upset anymore about this. These Knicks performances.
Nah, I'm not upset.
I'm telling you,
I'm not upset.
It's about Tom Thibodeau now. What's the plan? Is there a plan, or are you just trying to get into the lottery and get one of these? This draft is actually pretty interesting. From the kid from Auburn, Jabari Smith, and Chet Holmgren, that monster out in Gonzaga,
got like 7'9",
or the kids from Duke. I mean, maybe that's what they're thinking about. Who knows? But you just can't get upset anymore. It was unwatchable after 5 minutes.
The game was over after 5 minutes, and I was so happy that Van Gundy was on the game.
Yes,
I mean he
called him out.
Oh, dude, his commentary was blistering. And keep in mind, Thibodeau's his boy, so for him to take these, and certain things were overt, certain things were thinly veiled, but he was basically saying, Thibs, you gotta sit these clowns down, and you got to get rid of these stiffs who are starting. And he was coaching the Knicks when Van Gundy was in the finals. I mean, that's his boy. So for him to say what he was saying, it is bad. And by the way, and I can appreciate a nice troll job, and then we'll get to the Giants. Did you see, hey, Hoff, go to the Miami Heat verified account. Did you see their troll job? You know who they trolled last night?
I did not.
Do you know who they trolled?
No.
Your partner.
Really?
Me.
Why?
Go to the Heat verified account, couple of million followers, right? On Twitter.
What?
And they had the whole Chris Bosh, Julius Randle, Apex thing. They had a picture. I know it was a picture of Bosh, and I think it said it's like 9 or 10 or 12 down. Keep going down, Hoff, and then read it. Something like, I don't know, just a reminder about peak Bosh. They actually used the word peak.
That's funny.
They didn't at me. It's hysterical. It was actually well done. I got to give them credit. A little troll job. That was the best part of the night. Oh, geez, that was a disaster. And if you didn't see Basketball Diaries, really, you don't have to watch the whole movie, even though it's a good movie. Go to YouTube. Just type in Basketball Diaries drug scene. They take Quaaludes or mescaline before they hit the court, and they are literally tripping out while they're playing. That's what the Knicks look like. Like they're tripping out aimlessly, faltering all over themselves. They are a disaster. They are a joke right now. They are beyond. We gave them too much time. Let's move on. We gave them too much time. My bad.
I'm wondering where you are.
Too much time, Tiki. But when you find the tweet from the Heat, you can at least throw that in there. You can even retweet it. Have a little fun from our account. All good. Now, we had Joe Shane on the show. Mm-hmm. We like Joe.
I do like Joe.
We like Joe.
He's young. He's hungry.
Yeah.
Energetic.
He is. Seems very human, not robotic. Hopefully all good things will come to the Giants and their fans. A few things that we can extrapolate from the chat. We asked him about Sean Payton, obviously, went there twice, and, I think we got a satisfying answer. He's not going to, he's going to do something else this year. So, and you're not going to give up 3 first-round picks to get him either. But the timeline about hiring the coach, we all assumed, and you and I are both in the Dayball camp, we want Dayball, and then we want Ken Dorsey, who runs the passing game coordinator.
Yes,
right?
The problem is Josh Allen basically said, not basically, he did say, if Brian Daboll leaves, I want Ken Dorsey to be the Bills' offensive coordinator. And if you're Ken Dorsey, what are you doing?
Well, if you're the Bills, what are you doing? You're going to say, okay, well, I'm going to acquiesce. The way he played last year in these 2 playoff games, 2 perfect games, I'm going to keep Ken Dorsey, no doubt. But it started to look like Daboll is real serious about this Dolphins job. They're real serious about him. I like Dan Quinn, not as much as I think New York seems to think that I like Dan Quinn, but I like him a little bit. I really like Flores. They cannot hire Leslie Frazier.
Yeah.
They cannot hire Leslie Frazier.
Leslie Frazier is getting his interview tomorrow. He's interviewing tomorrow with the New York Giants. Obviously, he's familiar with Joe Shane, just like Brian Daboll, because he was the defensive coordinator for the Bills. And he had a modicum of success when he was with the Minnesota Vikings. Nothing to write home about. I don't even think they had multiple winning seasons, but his quarterbacks were inferior. I think it was Carson. What was his name?
Ponder?
Christian Ponder was the starting quarterback in a couple of years he was there. Jeez. So, I mean, you can't really judge him on.
You're not going to win a varsity high school game with Ponder.
But he's had a lot of respect as a defensive coordinator over the years, and we know he's good. Look at where the Bills were this year. But I agree with you. He just doesn't feel like the right head coach to flip this thing around for the New York Giants. No disrespect to him.
No
I like Leslie Frazier a lot. In fact, he almost got the Houston job last year, but they instead gave it to David Culley, who was also on that staff. It was a weird hire, but I think that was because they knew that David Culley was going to be a sacrificial lamb, so to speak, down there in Houston. So I agree with you with Leslie Frazier. He's getting his interview tomorrow. But today is the real interesting one for the Giants because Brian Flores is getting his in-person interview. Now, I didn't realize this because I thought that he did do a Zoom interview, and I think we had said that he did. He didn't do a virtual interview. So this is really the first time that the Giants have had a chance to sit down, have a deep conversation, talk about the ideas that he has for this team, about this team, who he'd bring in as a staff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's all happening today. And we know that the Giants, at least John Mara of the Giants, the owner, likes Brian Flores because he reached out to him directly. And so while it feels like...
As per Craig Carton.
That's right.
Who broke the news.
Our colleague, it follows this.
Right.
Craig Carton
is
on
top of it.
What do they call them? Insiders? The insider Carton getting that deal done. But we think that Brian Daboll, I feel that Brian Daboll has the edge. But if you're Brian Daboll and you have the option, what are you doing? If you're Brian Daboll and you have the option, what's more appealing? To go to Miami, to the Dolphins, or come to the Giants and have this some sort of semi-rebuild? The Dolphins have been pretty good.
Yep.
Not great. They haven't made the postseason, but they've been pretty good.
They have been.
Over the last couple of seasons. A 10-win season. Last year, what did they have, 8 wins? What were they, 8, 9, or 9? I can't remember what their record was last season. But they haven't been in the dumps. So if you're Daboll and you have the option, I mean, he might not choose the Giants.
He might not. That seems like he's leaning in that
Which is
direction.
a complicating factor.
Yes.
And if he doesn't choose the Giants,
then you scramble mode.
Then you're in scramble mode. Yeah. And if Brian Flores comes in and say he doesn't choose the Giants.
Yeah, you have to hire Brian Flores. If it's not Daboll, you have to hire Flores.
I think you're right. Now, there's a bunch of other names out there that we talked about. Dan Quinn, Raheem Morris, Eric Bieniemy, Leftwich.
You can't hire these guys.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. I'm throwing out all these names, and none of them are appealing.
Well, you want to coach him?
No, not definitely. I don't have the patience.
I can get you on the show every day.
Exactly. I definitely don't have the patience to be a head coach in the NFL. But
well, Carl Banks.
But the point is, it is kind of getting to like
a little late.
Do it or get off the pot.
A little nervous. Although the 8 other teams haven't done it yet either, to be fair.
I understand that.
It's not like names are going off the conveyor belt and the Giants have nobody left.
Yeah, true. Chicago had an interview with Jim Caldwell, which is just odd because the general manager is 36 and Jim Caldwell's 67.
Yeah.
I mean, the dynamics are unique here, but it felt like at the beginning of this week, the Giants would have their choice of who they wanted as head coach, whether it was Brian Daboll, who seemed to be the front runner, or or Flores,
Yep.
who's coming in today. Now, if it just goes poorly today,
and we'll find out. We'll get a little leakage.
We absolutely
We'll get a
will.
little
So there's a little bit of urgency here, whereas it
Yes.
felt like there wasn't any urgency. We could take our time, have some patience. It feels a little bit urgent in this moment right now.
Yeah, they had a lot of time and strength in numbers in terms of the availability of all the desirable candidates. And
That's
now
right.
if Daboll's jumping ship to Miami, things change a bit. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney on the fan. We'll get to these calls early as we always do, but just a few other things to think about. We'll throw it in the pot, and then we'll get to you here, get these calls going. Okay, so looks like John Harbaugh is going to hire Jim Harbaugh as defensive coordinator in Michigan. Now, unless they have a family dynamic like Aaron Rodgers has a family dynamic and they don't like each other, which we know that they do.
They do.
I know, I'm being facetious. Then there's no chance in hell that John Harbaugh is going to just screw his brother and take his DC when they got to the playoffs unless brother Jim told brother Johnny, yo, I'm coming back to the NFL.
It might be.
So that gives you a little something to chew on as well.
I wouldn't go. I think it's.
What do you mean you wouldn't go that
I think
far?
it's a quid pro quo, to be perfectly honest with you, because last year the offensive coordinator of the Michigan the Wolverines came, or what was assistant coach or quarterback coach or something like that, came from John Harbaugh's staff,
but not the coordinator.
True,
it's different.
True, but. It's just symbiosis, man.
All right, let's get
you
the
wash
calls.
my back, you wash my hands, I wash yours.
Understood. It's not scramble mode, but it's certainly a more amplified sense of urgency for the Giants to have a good day.
It feels like
Put it that
does.
way.
The Brian Flores interview is happening today. It feels like it needs to go great.
Okay. 877-337-6666. Let's go to Avi. Is it Avi or Avi out in Nutley on the fan? What's up, bud?
Abby.
Avi,
Hey,
how
what's
are
up,
you,
fellas?
man?
How you doing?
We're good, man.
Hey, first of all, you're doing a great show. Tiki, you're one of my favorite running backs.
Appreciate you, brother.
It's like, I really hate it when you retire, but I understand, I play football myself, so I understand the wear and tear. The bottom line is that, I was just hating when you retired because you know what happened after that. But
Yeah,
anyway,
of course. Timing sucks sometimes.
yeah, just like Don Mattingly, that was crazy.
Yeah, but that was less it was less on him, though.
Yeah, I know.
It's true.
The thing is this, I understand that Dable right now is considering Miami too, or maybe, they're saying the same thing about Miami, saying the same thing about maybe he's being the favorites over here in New York.
Yep.
But there's a couple of coaches that I'm like, why didn't, I don't know if they have reached out to them. Like, for example, you got Josh McDaniels. I know he's from the Patriots, but he does have head coaching experience already.
He does.
So, another opportunity will be good. Another McDaniels that I'm interested in is Mike McDaniels from the 49ers. I think that, he has done pretty good with Garoppolo and, the type of quarterbacks they got there and the way they scheme things out. That's something that the Giants need to improve on.
Yeah. It's interesting. When you just on him for a second, Mike McDaniel's out in San Francisco. He kind of might get stuck in the same situation that Eric Bieniemy is in because he's the offensive coordinator. Like, he does the install, he does X, Y, Z, and you know what. But at the end of the day, that Andy Reid's calling the plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, just like that Kyle Shanahan is calling the plays for the San Francisco 49ers. So, yes, he has some acumen, and he's part of that process, but is he actually the catalyst that's made this 49ers team so viable over the last few years and now in the NFC Championship game, again, despite feeling like they've been an inferior team this entire postseason?
877-337-6666. Twitter at Tiki and Tierney. Nick, Tom Rivers on the fan with us. How are you, Nick? What's happening?
Hey, fellas. Long-time caller. You guys, BT, if you're gonna broadcast in the New York area, it's a pack-on, Lake a pack-on, and Tiki.
I should know that. I have a friend that lives on that one, Lake of Pack-On. My buddy lives there.
Write it down. Whole pack-on.
Yeah.
And Tiki, I'm a longtime Giant fan. We love-hate relationship. Loved watching you run the ball. Dropping the bean every once in a while. Keep pulling my hair out of my head, but love the man.
Hey, why do you think I don't have any hair, Nick? What's up, man?
I have 2 points.
Go ahead.
Firstly, with showing the press conference yesterday, I don't take much from these opening press conferences. I've seen a billion of them.
Yep.
Couple things, like the energy, little concern. Competitive rebuild comment on moving forward. I would like to have seen them been like, we need to fix some stuff and we're going to move forward. And the fact that the is going to have his finger in the pot in terms of who the next head coach is. Little concerned.
Yeah, we asked him.
Yeah.
We asked him.
Yeah.
And by the way, Nick, we actually directly asked him because he talked about and he used the term collaborative effort during the actual press conference when we had Joe on the show. And by the way, you guys can go watch the whole thing. It's on YouTube, youtube.com/WFAN, Odyssey app. Still learning whatever else we have here at the station, so you can find it, I'm sure.
Twitch,
whatever, all the addresses.
That's kind of live. It doesn't live on Twitch. No,
I don't know.
it's just
All the
live,
links. Just do a Google search. You'll find it. But we asked him again. And we asked him directly, like, so, Joe, if you want this guy and ownership really, truly is leaning toward this guy, is this, for lack of a better word, battle that you're going to win? And he didn't say yes.
No, he kind of said, I hope it doesn't get to that.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. He said, well, I hope we don't get there. And then he spoke about having to, sell and, hopefully find common ground. And that's when I said, yeah, I get it. You're not going to hire somebody off the Garden State Parkway who's hanging under a sign. So nobody that management would be completely opposed to is going to be in the equation.
Yeah.
But it's a little disconcerting that for a team that has been run into the ground, the new GM doesn't have complete autonomy. And based on what he said and what John Mara said, he does not.
Yeah.
And I don't love that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Love that.
But he's a first-time general manager. We know that he obviously has a lot of success under Brandon Beane, and then obviously his path is great. But it's his first time doing it, so the track record hasn't been fully written yet, so we don't really know. Like we can assume that he's going to do well because he's a hustler, feels young, he feels eager, all these things that you can talk about from hearing him from just one time. But at the end of the day, I kind of understand it. It does worry you a little bit, though, just from a macro standpoint.
Yes. The other thing, we'll get more calls coming up, 877-337-6666. The whole Miami Giants thing. Brian Daboll coached against Tua multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he might like him. And Tua, unlike Daniel Jones, has 1 year less in the league.
Yes.
Which means he is 1 year further away from having to get a big deal or decision time.
Yes.
So, you forget about the weather and the taxes. Not that doesn't matter. That's obviously a part of the equation. But and the Dolphins have a little bit more of a recent winning pedigree. They're a step or two ahead of the Giants for sure based on their rebuild. If I don't know, is this fair for me to deduce if he takes the job in Miami, it's really a referendum on Daniel Jones and a big part of it versus Tua? It's got to be.
I mean, yes and no, but if I think you have to think of it this way, and I think it's important for these interviews as we go forward these next couple of days. 'Cause I think the urgency is now. Right, it's not like, we can wait until after the weekend and make a decision because the guys are going to start getting ticked off. And I wrote down a whole list of these guys' potentials for next year for head coaches of these 9 or now 8 openings. There's not a ton of them, man. And so you kind of got to get it right. But if you're Brian Flores, you're looking at a Giants team in the interview today, and you're saying, man, I just got fired. Like, my reputation's not hit, but it was an odd firing. I need to get back on the saddle and prove what I can do. But if you're Brian Daboll, you're saying, man, I've been on a great run. This momentum that I helped build with the Buffalo Bills is fantastic.
Yeah.
Do I want to go rebuild and hit my record? Or do I want to go someplace that's ready to win now, and they just need a little bit of an injection of personality and offense? You know what I mean?
I do, but also in the court of public opinion, who would have the longer leash in New York? Daboll, based on the fact he's a first-time head coach, or Flores? My answer is Daboll.
Without
even
a doubt,
though most
Daboll.
people seem to want Flores.
Especially because of what we just saw happen at the end for Flores in Miami, how it happened.
Yes.
Because that's surprising. I don't care what the relationship was with the players or the front. You win 8 out of your last 9 games and get clipped? That doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't, Tiki. I agree. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney on the fan, just getting going. More calls. Big Ben going to retire. One of the 9 jobs apparently open. Who do you want? I mean, it looks like Daboll might say, nah, I don't want to come and help the Giants. So if that's the case, is Flores the main guy or maybe an off-the-radar candidate? Tiki and I will roll with this for a little bit more coming up next here on The Fan.